This video will cover the options regarding the Fill Surface tool. I won't go too far into applications of the Fill Surface tool as I already covered that in the Fill and Boundary intro. So the Fill Surface tool is sort of the magical tool of SOLIDWORKS surfacing. It has very few options and it sort of comes up with the boundary itself. It tries to calculate what the best option for filling an area is. So for example, if I choose out these three edges, it's going to try to place some sort of boundary in this area. By default, the optimized surface is checked, and once again this creates essentially a boundary surface, and you get generally the natural fill tool if you turn this option off. In general, I wouldn't worry too much about the optimized surface. You can see there's not much of a difference, or in this case there's possibly no difference between the two. What you want to watch out for is if this mesh actually converges into a corner, as I'll show later, as that's the main time that you'll want to turn, or that's the main case that you'll want to turn the optimized surface off. Just like most other tools, we have show preview. We can turn off the mesh as well. For each of these edges, we can choose a end condition. In this case, it's defaulted at contact. And we can either change all of these edges at once by choosing apply to all edges, or we can uncheck this and set these manually. For example, if I wanted to change one of these to curvature, I can uncheck that option and have it be curvature continuous. If I zoom in here, you can see the effect of resolution control. The further over I move this, the higher the resolution. So you can see these squares are going to get larger as I move this out. And that one, it's a little bit hard to see the effect while you're in the tool. So there, if you think you need resolution control, you can exit the tool and see what each of those options results in. Just like guide curves in the loft tool, we can use constraint curves within the fill tool, and in this case I just have two splines that are curvature continuous to these faces. At the bottom of the fill tool, you also have the option of merging the results together, and you can also fix up any gaps. And you can see, rather than having an open edge, the fill tool will go ahead and knit these two surfaces together. So if I turn that merge result off, you'll see these open edges. And if this fill is creating a fully enclosed body, you can choose the try to form solid option, and that should create a solid geometry. So generally, if I have a two-sided or three-sided surface, I want that optimize option turned off. And the reason is, if I choose the filled surface tool and these two edges, we'll get a boundary surface with the splines terminating at the corner, creating a degenerate surface. So there'll be issues at both of these corners. What we want is an overbuilt surface that's trimmed back to our boundary. So this is a specific case where you would not want the optimized surface turned on. You'll also notice if you turn the optimize surface on, the resolution control goes away, and it comes back once that's unchecked. Lastly, I'll go ahead and just create an extrusion using an ellipse. And if I use my fill tool and choose this edge, it now has two faces to reference off of. And that's where this alternate face comes in. If I want to make this curvature continuous, right now it's just making it curvature continuous to this top face. If we choose the alternate face, we can create a dome on top of that ellipse. And so you can see one of the uses of the fill tool is to simply create a dome on an existing shape. But those are the options for the fill tool. Later videos will cover applications of filled surfaces.